If I take that glass of water there and I put the tiniest drop of poison in it, you're going to drink it?
Nah.
It's just corrupted the whole thing.
Yeah.
So for me to live my life and live and die by something and believe in something, it has to be pure, especially if it's from God. It has to be pure.
La ilaha illallah, revert, I'm getting in routine. I walked out wearing a jewel, but I know this isn't in my jeans. From the streets to the Deen.
Assalamu alaikum, people. Welcome back to another episode of Streets to Deen. Don't forget to leave a comment down below. Like, share, subscribe, all of that. Assalamu alaikum, akhi.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Hey, say, my bro, you right, yeah?
Alhamdulillah, good.
Would you like to introduce yourself to the people?
Yeah. What camera am I looking at?
No,
Sorry,
we're
bro.
chatting in it, so yeah. We'll
Okay,
just
all right,
each other,
cool. Keep it authentic,
Yeah,
inshallah ta'ala.
yeah.
My name's Jibril, alhamdulillah. 33 years old. And I'm from London. My dad's Guyanese and my mum's English.
Subhanallah. Guyanese and English, yeah. So, English Caribbean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, do you know what? Guyana is actually in, like, I've always had this thing, is Guyana in the Caribbean or
Yeah.
not? But it's like South America. It's right next to Brazil.
Oh, swear.
Yeah. So I don't know if Guyana actually fits in the club of the Caribbean or not.
Yeah.
I kind of doubt it.
Nah, fair enough. Yeah, I'd have to look into that
Yeah,
one, innit?
yeah.
But like, okay, so you was born here then, I'm guessing, yeah?
Yeah,
back
born in
Ghana.
Lewisham.
Lewisham, yeah?
Yeah.
Subhanallah. Tell us about that, man. Like, growing up in Lewisham, being born there.
Well, I was born in Lewisham Hospital.
Okay.
And I grew up in Blackheath.
Okay.
So I've been in Southeast London for most of my life. Certainly when I was growing up and under the family, you know, under my dad and me and my twin brother, Elias, because I'm a twin. My dad actually raised both of us by himself when him and my mum separated when we was 2.
Okay.
So he always took pride in that, like, do you know what I mean? Being a black man and obviously like raising his kids by himself. He didn't want to be that guy that wasn't there raising us.
Yeah.
And he had me and my brother. We were raised in Blackheath. He did a good job with us. Like, he was very, very strict. It was an up and down childhood. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was, when you get older, you understand and you especially if you're happy with where you are in your life and who you are as a person. I think that helps you in terms of empathizing with others.
Of course.
I think if you had like a dad who was violent, perhaps, for example, and you're not happy with who you are as an individual or where you are in life, I think it's much easier to hold resentment towards like your upbringing, your childhood, your parent, whatever. If you feel fortunate, if you feel blessed, and obviously being a Muslim, I do feel fortunate, I do feel blessed. It really helps me in terms of empathizing with my dad in terms of like the things that were not so great. You know, having a black parent, black style parenting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's beatings going on. Like, there's things happening in it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And my dad went through a lot as well, because my uncle, his brother, my uncle Mark, was murdered when we was young as well. When we was, I think when we was around 2 or something like that.
In the area.
Well, he was into what he was into the lifestyle, innit?
Yeah.
So he got shot in a club. Yeah, shot in the back. So my dad's being who he was, you know, a boxer, bouncer, like, you know, certain type of individual, and him not being able to do what he wanted to do, I think that was something that affected him a lot in terms of that anger and that frustration, knowing that you've got these responsibilities with these 2 kids, but not being able to fully do what you would like to do. So as an adult, I can empathize with my dad. Do you understand what I'm saying? And me and my twin brother, maybe we were a bit crazy as well.
Which was going to be my next question, like, because like, what type of kids were you, like, primary school age kind of thing? Like, was you like a sporty kid? Was you a naughty kid? Or, because it's interesting the dynamic you said, like, a lot of people grew up in single parent households, but it's more so the mum looking after them rather than the dad. So like, how did that affect you going to school kind of thing, you know, having your dad as the parent looking after you?
In terms of how we were as kids, I don't think we were bad kids, but we were we were naughty. Do you know what I mean? Like we were naughty. We weren't like rude to teachers, outlandish, wild. Because my dad was a disciplinarian. Do you understand what I'm saying? So there was no room for like that type of behavior because we'll get into that probably later on in the story about how my dad's behavior and his past influenced what we could and couldn't do when we was older. Primary school age, we're innocent to an extent. We're crazy, me and my brother. Do you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like us against them. You know, them ones there. I think twins are like that, you know, because I know a couple other twins and it's always just like them two versus everybody else. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. We had our friends and, you know what I'm saying, and whatever else, but it was just me and my brother for the most part. We were not necessarily academic or much inclined to academia. Okay. We were very middle students, you know, and my dad was on point. So he was like wanting to be part of the school council and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, he wanted to be involved.
He wanted to be involved. You know what I'm saying? And his business is selling books, so promoting literacy to schools. Okay. So he had some of the people watching this might have even been like, right, is that your dad? Because my dad had a book bus that used to go into schools, and all the years would come onto the book bus and he'd read stories and have poets come and do poetry. So he was big into that promoting literacy sort of thing. So he was active like that. Yeah, he was about it. Wow. So yeah, in terms of how we were as primary school kids, bro, kind of crazy. Yeah, but not too crazy.
Not too crazy.
And just cracking on like every other kid.
And I just want to go back to sort of, let's say, home life. Yeah. So obviously your dad raised you, but would it be a thing where like almost sort of shared custody, where on the weekends you see your mom?
That's a good question. Yeah. Basically, weekends we would be with our mum. Okay. So yeah, Monday to Friday we would be with our dad. Yeah. And then if memory serves correctly, Friday night to Sunday we would be with our mum. But then I do remember times my dad used to have a stall on Covent Garden before the business got bigger. Yeah. And I do remember being with him in the markets, but I'm pretty sure for the most part we was with our mum on the weekends. That's definitely what the sunnah was for us.
Okay. So like sort of moving forward a little bit as you're growing older, you're going through primary, you know, getting into secondary and stuff like that. For the most part, was your behavior still the same kind of thing? Crazy, not too crazy, or did you mature? Yeah.
This is the interesting thing about what my dad chose to do.
Okay.
Because you asked us
secondary school.
Just before secondary school. We're talking like year 5, year 6.
All right.
My dad separated us, me and my brother.
Different schools.
Different schools. Oh. Yeah, different schools, man. Yeah. So you mentioned as well, like where we sporty and stuff. We was really into football at a primary school age, like a lot of kids growing up in this country. Yeah. And you know, like, I don't know why I randomly mentioned that now. I should have just left it really. But anyway, when we got to like year 5, my dad took me out of the school that we was in and put me into another school. So yeah.
Was there a reason behind that?
He said that he wanted us to be our own individuals. That's what he said. Makes sense. Yeah. It could have been me. I don't think we was getting into that much trouble together. So I'm gonna go with what he said. That's what it was. Like he wanted us to be our own people. Maybe he thought we was too much of a distraction. For each other. Yeah. So year 5 and year 6, I spent in a different school. That's rough, man. Imagine being a kid. You've done all this year 5. Now I've got to integrate with these other kids at year 5 and year 6.
Because it's a unique situation. Because being separated after so long is already gonna be something to deal with. But you were the one who actually went to a different school. So your brother stayed. He was still in the comfort zone.
Yeah.
So what was that like to you? Like going to a new school?
It was a bit uncomfortable. It was a bit uncomfortable. Do you know what I'm saying? Like everyone's established. Like, do you know what I'm saying? But it wasn't that deep, man. You cracked on. Do you know what I'm saying? It was just, you just get on with it. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I never really had any real friends like that in that school. I can remember that for sure. Yeah. But it was calm.
SubhanAllah.
Yeah.
So then after all of that, going into secondary school, did you then go to the same secondary school as your brother, or
different secondary school? Different secondary school. We went to. They were twin. They called them twin schools. So Thomas Tallis and Kidbrooke. Okay. I went to Kidbrooke. Ilyas went to Thomas Tallis. I mean, as teenagers, man, Man, so much happens in that time, innit? In teenagehood.
Okay.
I mean, how was teenage? How was secondary school? I tell you what, I describe it like this. Yeah, I always felt different to my peers. My dad used to keep tight reins on us.
Yeah.
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 We grew up in a bad boy era. So when being a bad boy was the thing,
Cool thing, yeah.
you understand? It was the thing. It's not the thing anymore. Like that. People aren't really interested in if you're a bad boy or not. They're more interested in your followings and your money and this, that, and the other. Yeah. But we grew up in a bad boy era. So my dad was like, because he was a bad man, there was no room for me and my brother to be bad boys.
Oh,
and that's where I touched on earlier, where I said that we'll come into this, like where we couldn't do.
Okay.
Like there was no room for me and my brother to be bad boys. Because my dad was one.
So he knew all the tricks. He
knew
couldn't
all
get
the
away with
tricks,
nothing.
but he didn't raise us to be that way. So he was never going to tolerate us trying to act bad. So if he saw me and my brother try and do anything that was remotely imitating trying to be a bad boy, imagine being that and watching your sons who aren't that trying to be that. And you don't want that for them.
Yeah.
There's no room for it because the biggest bad man was in the house.
Yeah.
So if you're carrying on with madness outside and you've got this giant in the home who's gonna beat you for carrying on away, you're not gonna be like that.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying? So me and my brother, we wasn't outside. I remember when, and it's coming into the story, I remember when one day my dad was driving us through Woolwich.
Yeah.
And I saw all these black people with kind of slightly bigger foreheads.
Okay.
And I was thinking, rah,
Yeah.
what's going on here? Like, who are these people?
Yeah.
Wallahi, this is what I was like.
Yeah.
I was the first time I seen Somalians.
Subhanallah.
Like, really like that.
How old is he?
Bro, I was in secondary school.
So you had no Somalian
Bro,
friends,
the routine,
nothing in...
the routine, was school, to my dad's business, or my granddad's house, home. Do you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There was no like, oh, I'm going to go out and play with my friends. I had my next door neighbor, Luke.
Yeah.
I only had 2 friends, bro. Obviously, being a Muslim, you got your companions. But for my friends, Luke and Alex.
Okay.
That was my next door neighbor and the boy that I told you about, my friend that I told you about.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're still my only 2 friends. Like, and then you got your companions. Muslims different.
Yeah.
That was it, bro. So I'm driving through, my dad's driving us through Woolwich. I'm seeing these Somalians for the first time and I'm thinking, rah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And then one time, we was going to the cinema. Because as I said, I had people, but you know who your friends are and then there's people you're around. So they said, yeah, we're going cinema. We're meeting up at the Blockbusters, yeah? I wasn't outside like that. So the only Blockbusters I'd seen close-ish was in Welling. These are all in Woolwich.
Yeah.
And there was a Blockbusters in Woolwich.
Yeah. But you never been to that one?
I hadn't seen it. I didn't think about it, know it. So my dad's like, Dad, can I go to the cinema with my friends? He's like, all right, cool. So I'm like, I'm surprised even I can go.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I said, yeah, we're meeting at Blockbusters. So I get him to take me to Welling.
Yeah.
This is so embarrassing. I can't even remember telling this, but
Yeah, that's part of the story.
yeah, exactly. So we drive to Welling, Blockbusters. I'm like, yo, where's everyone at? So I call up, yo, like, where you like at? They're like, we was at the Blockbusters, bro. I was like, there's like, where are you? I'm like, I'm at Blockbusters. I said, which one? Is that the one in Welling? They must have cussed me out and had the biggest banner over that.
So and how far, for reference for people who don't know the area, how far is Welling from Woolwich?
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. You got my house. You've got Woolwich. You got the cinema.
Yeah.
Welling's over here. Welling's over here.
Opposite way.
Opposite way.
Yeah.
So that's how out of touch I was with like just like, you know what I'm saying? My surroundings,
I hear you.
what's going on.
Yeah.
Do you feel what I'm saying? And because I got my twin, we was content.
Yeah. What was the events that was going on through your life? Yeah, because obviously it's clear that, you know, your dad had a sort of a routine for you guys and he had set certain boundaries. So what actually made you go outside the box, or what actually led you to then becoming or finding Islam before becoming Muslim?
Well, the thing is that because I found Islam later on in my life, I was already way outside the box, way outside the bound. I accepted Islam at 21. So I was out of my... Bro, I moved out at like 17, 18, something
All
like
right.
that. And my brother moved out even slightly earlier.
Yeah.
What happened was,
Yeah.
is due to just differences between me and my dad. Obviously, the older you get, the beating stop in it. So it wasn't about that. It was just about him not being pleased with maybe something I was doing or what I wasn't doing what he wanted me to do.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening was I lived in a hostel.
Okay.
I moved to a hostel, and I think that was at about 18.
Okay.
And that was an interesting experience, man. I remember I got a funny, because this is a podcast, I'm gonna make this funny, entertaining for people, yeah? So you go, because it's so funny when a guy that is not street, because I'm not street like that, do you understand? Like, you get involved in certain things and you have certain people, but I know I'm not a street individual like that.
Yeah.
When you're living in a hostel,
Come
you're
across
around
those-
all those people in it.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
And I'm cool with them, cool with everyone.
Yeah.
But I remember I wanted to start getting involved in selling some stuff, yeah, to make money. And so having some middle class roots, I had a connection to good stuff. So stuff that these other kids couldn't get, say kids, young adults, teens, they couldn't get this stuff. So I used that connect and I started selling, yeah?
Yeah.
But remember, I'm not a bad boy. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that. I'm just me, whatever that is. But I'm naive. So I'm naive as well.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, I'm cool with everyone. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm just a young kid that's into fashion and whatever, and cool is cool. He ain't on harming anyone. No one's on harming him. I'll be all right. But the thing is when you start taking people's customers, because where you've got the best stuff, jealousy can come in, word can spread around. So check out what happened, yeah? This is what happens when you step out of your lane.
Yeah.
There's this guy, and I was friends with his brother. His brother was my age.
Okay.
His older brother. His older brother's kind of crazy. The type of person who would rob his younger brother's friends. You know those guys?
Yeah.
Like, they don't care if you're boys with his younger brother, he will rob you. You know those kind of loose cannon individuals? He was a customer of mine, yeah?
Okay.
Even though he was big into that thing, like what he was doing, which was a higher level of what I was dealing with in terms of the food that we were selling, he would buy some stuff from me, innit? So one day, he's come to buy something, yeah? I've gone outside. I haven't got the change for the cash that he's got. I go back to my the entrance of my part of the hostel where there's other people living inside it. Do you understand? There's a guy waiting outside the door. So in my naivety, I know that there was one person I assumed that he was there to see. I said, are you here to see so-and-so? I even gave him the excuse. Are you here to see so-and-so? He's like, yeah. It's like, all right, cool. So I open the door. He comes in behind me. I got a knife on my back. He's like, you know what I'm saying? Be quiet. Where's the food? Da, 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 da. I'm like, yo, what are you doing, man? He's like, no, shut up, bro. Be quiet. Go inside. I'm like, so I open the door into my bit.
Yeah.
And then again, I say to him, like, bro, what are you doing, man? He's like, listen, be quiet if I bite your nose off.
Okay.
Some greasy guy, bro.
Yeah.
If I bite your nose off, I was like, rah. So he's like, where's the food? I'm like, it's there. So I'm still giving a bit of attitude.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Because it's something about the situation didn't feel real. Like, I didn't feel scared.
Yeah.
Do you understand? I don't know why.
Yeah.
But something about it didn't feel real
Okay.
to me.
Okay.
So as the story elaborates, maybe we'll see why, yeah? So I'm like, it's there. So he goes and takes what little I had left, because I know what I had. I didn't have much left anyway. Do you understand what I'm saying? So he's rummaging around or whatever. He leaves the knife on the bed within enough distance for me to grab it.
Yeah.
And I'm asking myself the question, do I grab the knife?
Ready for that action. Yeah.
But if I grab the knife, I know I've elevated things to a whole new situation now. So am I willing to do that?
Yeah.
I wasn't willing to do that. Do you understand what I'm saying? I said, nah, I'm cool. Let him take the little stuff. Because if I try to stab him or he gets it off me, or even if I kill him, I don't want to kill him.
Yeah.
I don't even want to stab him.
Yeah.
So what's the point in me in going for it? Let him do his thing. Inside, I'm saying to myself, okay, cool. I'm not about that life. I'm not in it to try and fight people or stab people for my food or whatever. I just wanted to make some money. So he takes stuff. He said, "Oh, do you know what? Because you've been so, I can't remember the word. Let's just whatever word describes not being a hassle,
Compliant,
basically.
yeah.
Because you've been so compliant, I'm going to let you keep your line. It's like, probably so that I can shot more and then he can come back another time.
Yeah.
But anyways, so he took the stuff and then I never like sold again after that because I was just like, if you're gonna do it, then be about it.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? If you're not gonna be about it and a person who's not out here like that or trying to be bad is getting touched, then just leave it in it.
Yeah.
It's not for you. So these are the types of little situations that I found myself in.
So going back to the whole situation, maybe you're gonna explain later on, but was it a setup then?
Well, the thing is, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I was about to end the story without mentioning this thing. My man calls me, remember the one that I went to get the change, get the change for, who is a bad boy, who's about that life, Oh, bro, what you doing? Like someone tried to trap me in the car park. Like I had to do some maneuver and get out. And I was just listening to him, and I put 2 and 2 together so quickly that it's like he set me up. Do you understand? He set me up because I was doing well in terms, or he assumed I was doing well with what I had, and he left one time. He left his work in my room.
Okay.
So he came, bought some stuff an earlier time, and left his work in my house, in my place. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when I saw it bagged up, I was like, yo, like you left your stuff. So he was probably wanting to test me and see, would I try and keep it? Would I be interested in selling it for him?
Yeah.
Do you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I feel like he was trying to suss me out. Because I think what he wanted to see was if I would actually go for the knife and be on it.
Yeah.
So I would work for him, basically.
Okay.
I think it was more of like a test. Like, see if he's moist or see if he's, like, see what he's on.
Yeah.
When he could see that I wasn't on it, he's just like, okay, take the food or whatever and we won't do anything with him. That's my rationalization of it.
Looking back at it,
Looking back on it, yeah.
Fair enough.
Why are you leaving the knife on the bed at such a distance like that? You're gonna keep the knife on you, innit?
So you're saying after that episode, you left that life alone?
I wasn't even in the life. I can't even say that I left the life alone. I just stopped selling what I was selling.
Yeah.
Because it was just not that deep for me.
Okay. But then now you need other ways of making money. So did you get a job? Like,
yeah, I got a job. Yeah. My first like proper job was door-to-door fundraising. I'm a good kid, man. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like
fundraising.
Yeah, door-to-door fundraising. So like that's when, you get those people that stop you in the street. Like, oh, can you sign up to such charity? I was doing door-to-door fundraising.
Okay.
And it was a bit nerve-wracking at first, but I excelled in it.
Yeah.
Like I did well, and then I started managing a team, and then I would do that. And I did that for like 2 years.
Yeah.
It was a really good job. I actually met my kid's mum through that job. Imagine I was out in Northwest London, Harlesden.
Yeah.
And I was knocking on one door, and I turn around when I'm waiting, and I see this thing walk past. And I was like, I wonder if she lives on this street. So, because if she does, then I'm gonna make sure I knock on the door, innit? And she ended up going in. I was like, all right, cool. I said to my colleague, yo, don't knock any of the doors up until this point.
Yeah.
So I'm saying. So eventually I knocked on her door, started talking, then did my thing.
Yeah.
So like,
but before that, because I'm guessing this is when you were Muslim now.
I wasn't Muslim.
You were Muslim.
Oh, you trying to think I'm trying to draw girls when I'm Muslim, bro? Like, you're crazy.
They draw wives, innit?
When I accepted Islam, bro, I accepted Islam like, boom. I never looked back. Like,
fast forward a bit now to from you being living in a hostel, having your own space, having your own sort of freedom, to then finding this thing called Islam.
So basically, what happened was, is I was celebrating my 21st birthday with my friends in Manchester.
Okay.
And when I came back from Manchester, I went straight to my mum's because it was a weekend Sunday, so I would always go to my mum's.
Okay.
And then I go into the kitchen and I see Ilyas is wearing like a thobe, sandals, his hair's grown out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's going on? Do you know what I'm saying? What's good?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm Muslim. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm not like shocked and amazed or whatever. No? Like, I'm like, no, I wasn't. Because, I mean, when you've seen a lot and you've like, it's your brother, innit? Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know much about what it is to be a Muslim. Okay. So it's not like it. Remember, because of that, maybe that distance between us as well, not living together from we was like 16 or 17, going to different schools, we really are our own people.
Okay.
So if he's become Muslim, it doesn't really matter to me. It doesn't really faze me. You know what I'm saying? So he's telling me he's Muslim. Bro, man, I can't start coming up the first controversial thing I can think of to challenge him on.
Yeah.
So you really believe that Adam and Eve were the first of creation? How comes Muslim men can marry more than one wife? And you know,
Also, you knew about Islam.
Yeah, I knew a little bit.
Okay.
But just the things that the kuffar would know, those controversial things.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I start hurling these questions at him. But even as a new Muslim, he was able to answer them so well that you know, that it made sense. You know, and so this is where the journey began. This is where the discussions took place, and where he would send me these lectures from Murtaza Khan and Ahmed Dida and Saeed Raga and these individuals, and I would listen to them and I would learn more and more, because I always believed that there was only one God. I used to come back from the club, go back to where I was renting and reflect and just think to myself, bro, there's got to be more to life than this, man, because like I believe in a God. You know what I'm saying? I believe in divine justice. I believe in a day of judgment. And I said to myself that if there is a God, which I believe there is, and he's just and he's merciful and he's powerful, you must have left something pure for me. Because if I take the Bible and then you ask me, why did I worship your prophet as a God or equal to you, or why did you ascribe a son to me? I'm going to say, well, that's what you left me with. Like, that's what you gave. That's all I had. So and Allah is just. So I'll never be punished and sent to the hellfire for worshipping other than Allah.
Because that's all you knew.
If that's all I knew, because he would make sure that there's something pure, uncorrupted for me to follow. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I would think like this. What is that pure thing? What is that truth? And even if Christianity has some truth in it, if you put one drop of falsehood in it, if I take that glass of water there and I put the tiniest drop of poison in it, you're going to drink it?
Nah.
It's just corrupted the whole thing. So for me to live my life and live and die by something and believe in something, it has to be pure, especially if it's from God. It has to be pure. So Ilyas is sending me these lectures. I'm learning more and more about Islam. Then I'd learn about the Quran. There was this guy called Khalid from Woolwich, big brother. We had a fight, if you could call it that, once in Jahiliyyah, when he wasn't Muslim and I wasn't Muslim. He busted my head open, there's a scar here, because I was this weird guy like who's not like big and strong, but wouldn't take certain things. So I remember we left this club. There was this girl who he was feeling, and me and her was cool, but we was nothing. And he said, "Oh, that's my man." So then he started getting on to me. Do you understand what I'm saying? So then when we left the club, I was like, "Yo, what's good? This guy's big." He just went boom. Headbutted me, bust my head open. We start fighting. I'm grabbing onto his legs. My boy's jumping in. She's trying to hit her with a purse. So I step off the bus one time. I see him. He's got a beard. He's got a paint. Like, he's on his humble vibe, because in the club he was on a stunting team, but he's on a humble vibe. It's like, is he paint on his clothes and stuff like that? And then he's Muslim. My brother's Muslim. He's like, yo, I'm so like, you know, I'm sorry about this, that, and the other. And then he said, how comes you're not Muslim yet? I said, to be honest, I don't believe in things like that. Man can corrupt it. I believe in God and I trust God, but I don't trust man.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So men can corrupt it. And he said, yeah, I guess until you believe that the Quran is from Allah and not from men and it's not corrupted, I guess you'll never be a Muslim, I guess. And that makes sense. So when I found out about the Quran and that it's over 1,400 years old, it's been preserved in every way in its form and in its language. So the language of the original revelation has been preserved, the Arabic, which it was revealed in, which of course the Bible wasn't revealed in English. The Torah wasn't revealed in English. So when you start losing the language of that time, it's open to interpretation and issues. So it's been preserved in the language it was revealed in, which is super important. So for the non-Muslims who are listening and they ask the question, why have you got to pray in Arabic? Doesn't God understand all languages? Why you got to recite in Arabic? Bro, by us memorizing the Quran and reciting it in the language it was revealed in, it's all part of preserving the Quran. You feel what I'm saying? So if somebody took all the Qur'ans and burnt them all, we could bring the Quran back, no problem, because we've memorized it. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah, so there's a significant, and also the language as well, the actual meaning of the revelation.
Yeah.
We have this arrogance where we think that the English language is superior. Yeah. English is dirt in comparison to Arabic. So even if you was reading it in English, you're not really reading God's revelation. You feel what I'm saying?
For real.
So Allah says in the Quran, Inna nahnu nazalna dhikra wa inna lahu lahafidhun. Indeed, we sent down the dhikr, i.e. the Quran, and we will guard it from corruption. It's a huge ayah, because if you want to destroy Islam, which many governments and people in power want to do, you go to the book.
Yeah.
You tamper with the source, it's destroyed.
Yeah.
But Allah hasn't allowed that to happen with the Quran. As He promised in the Quran that He wouldn't. So when I saw that this is a book that preaches monotheism, purely one God, only worship Him alone.
Yeah.
Scientific evidences and proofs, like scientific miracles in the Quran, all of this stuff, like, to me, that was undeniable. So when I got that conviction about Islam as a religion, then I got the conviction of its text.
Yeah.
My brother invited me to a community day at Lewisham Islamic Centre,
Okay.
where non-Muslims are welcome to come into the masjid and things like that. And I sat there and I listened to the brothers, and I felt such a great level of conviction that Islam is a truth and that I'm ready to accept Islam.
Yeah.
And because of the learning that I'd done from the lectures that I'd listened to, that my brother had sent me about shaitan, about how he operates, even before becoming a Muslim, I stopped eating pork, and I anticipated that before going to the masjid, shaitan was going to try and stop me as well. So I'm in the car with my dad and my younger brother Ezra. We're on our way to go and see my grandmother. It's around Christmas time, so we're doing these family visits.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, I know shaitan is going to try and make going to the masjid hard for me today. And then my dad, my dad started speaking about my brother Ilyas in a derogatory way. I started
because he
was a Muslim and stuff like that. I started defending Ilyas, and then I got kicked out around in Plumstead. The masjid's in Lewisham, so he kicked me out of the car.
Yeah.
And then I was like, this was an ayah for me. Do you feel what I'm saying? This is an ayah for me. I remember saying shaitan's not going to stop me. So I went all the way to Lewisham on the bus, made sure I went to the community day, spoke to her brother Abdullah Deen. I remember asking about the beard, because I was seeing like someone at that time, and she was saying, because I was talking to her that I might be interested in Islam. And the first thing she asked me for some reason is, are you going to grow your beard? So I asked him, like, what's the deal with the beard? Like, do you have to grow your beard? And he's like, imagine if you saw a lion without its mane. Wouldn't you think it's a lioness? And from that moment on,
grew the beard.
Yeah, the beard ain't been touched. So what happened is I knew enough about myself to be like, I don't want to be overwhelmed by emotion and this feeling of I found the truth.
Yeah.
And embrace it without taking it on fully. So my brother's there telling me, bro, accept Islam. The brothers are around me, bro, accept Islam. You believe it's true. I said, bro, you know what? Let me go home, yeah? If I wake up in the morning with the same level of conviction that I feel now, I'll go and take my shahada straight away.
Fair enough.
So, alhamdulillah, Allah gave me life. I woke up the next morning with the same level of conviction, that same energy, that same enthusiasm.
Yeah.
And I went straight and took my shahada.
SubhanAllah. Talk us through that then, like life now as a Muslim kind of thing.
Yeah, like this is the stuff that I really like to talk about, like after Islam, because I feel like as inspirational as it is to hear about people's story to Islam, and by the way, this has been the most like limited in terms of giving my revert story.
Okay.
Like in terms of like there's other details and things that happen along the way, but it's about after. What do you do after you accept Islam? How does Islam change your life?
Because from 21 to 33, you've gone through a lot as a Muslim. You know
Exactly.
I mean? Not a lot of people really hear that side. They only hear, from Jahiliyyah to Islam. Like, oh, mashallah, you lived happily ever after. But now the real test begins.
Yeah,
you know
like you're real, like you started a whole new life now, a whole new identity to an extent, and lifestyle. But you see that decision that I made to not take my shahada at the masjid at that time, that was really important, you know, because you have to trust yourself and know yourself that this is real.
Yeah.
Do you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I knew that if I found the truth and I accepted Islam, I'm gonna live and die by it.
Yeah.
Like this was my mindset at the time when it came to Islam. Like I'm willing to live and die by this. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there is no other option.
Yes.
Because the truth is such a valuable thing. Like the truth is, for people who care about truth, the truth means everything to them. It doesn't matter even if it involves going through pain. Like if it's the truth, this is where I need to be.
Of course.
You know? And in a world of falsehood, the truth is even more valuable. Like, do you know what I'm saying? It's even more valuable and even more precious. So I live and die by this thing, man. I swear, man. Like I've got my shortcomings, I've got my sins, but I've embraced Islam so fully.
Yeah.
And I'm really grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He's allowed me to be comfortable within my own skin as a Muslim.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when one time I was working in this company, and there's a lot of Asians working in the company as well, and they invited us after Ramadan for like I think it was towards the end of Ramadan actually. It was like an iftar. There was all Asians, literally all of them, and I was the only non-Asian there. I didn't even feel it.
Yeah, because of the brotherhood.
I don't even know if it's because of the brotherhood, because I don't even think about that.
Okay.
I'm a Muslim.
Yeah.
So these are people I should be around. It's just normal.
Exactly.
And the only thing that made me, I only realized it was one of the Asian brothers said, you know what? I'm really impressed by how comfortable you are, like being the only non-Asian here. Like you're just cool. And then I clocked on, like, oh yeah, I'm the only one. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I know other brothers who have an issue with this. Like they feel like they don't fit in, or they go into a masjid that's an Asian masjid, and they feel away. Or I think uncles look at them in particular way. Maybe he is, but it just doesn't bother me. That no, it doesn't faze me, because this is who I am. Yeah, my ancestors are the Sahaba. Yeah, do you understand? Even though I have ancestors, my ancestors are the Sahaba. Yeah. You know, that's how I feel about things. So life after Islam got more orderly, structured. You know, Salah became a part of my life. There was this young kid in the masjid. I asked him to help me learn how to pray. He wrote down bullet point for me. You know, I learned how to pray. I remember the first prayer that I prayed. I remember waking up at the time of Fajr. Still a little bit tired, but not too tired. So I don't want to give myself too much credit. Yeah. But a bit tired and thinking to myself, you don't know how to pray fully yet. Like, you just leave it. And I said, you know what? Nah, man. If you are conscious of a salah, even if you don't know how to pray fully yet, but you got the paper there, you will find yourself leaving salah later. Do you understand? So I remember getting up, that weird feeling of putting this stove on, putting my foot in the sink. Yeah. You know those weird feelings because you've never done something like that before. You know, even just doing wudu at that time in the morning and praying. These are things that, like, these little decisions that you make, like rejecting a girl who wants to come round. Yeah. But you're lonely. It's just you. Yeah. Do you understand what I'm saying? You would love her company. Yeah. But you heard that there's on a day of judgment, one of the 7 under Allah's shade is one who has an opportunity to commit zina, and he says, I fear Allah. Like when you take these little shaitan starts coming with these little things, and you message this kafir, I fear Allah. Yeah. Hoping that you might be under Allah's shade. You see it? Like these are little sacrifices, little decisions that you make that I genuinely feel can dictate your future. You know?
Nah, that's powerful, my bro, man.
Just those little sincere moments, just where you do the right thing for Allah.
The power of habit, basically. Yeah.
The power of?
The power of habit. So them little habits that you start implementing in your life later, like you said,
hold you down later on.
Hold you down. Yeah,
they hold you down later on.
You become who you are.
Yeah, so people shouldn't overlook doing a good deed, sincerely for the sake of Allah, and also turning away from one. Yeah, because if you know something's wrong and you indulge in it, especially in the early phases of Islam, it could be that might dictate now how you're going to be as a Muslim going on throughout your life, off and on, up and down, left and right. So definitely don't overlook those.
Cool. So we're back from the break. Yeah, we've got a little princess here. Do you want to introduce yourself? Mashallah, beautiful name. Cool. So you're gonna hear Daddy's story now, yeah?
She's probably been subjected to it so many times already. She's been at the university talks. Yeah. Other things that she's seen. But yeah, this is the love of my life. All of my kids, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. But I got Aya with me today. Yeah, child.
Which is but it's a good way to segue into what we was gonna talk about next, man. So, subhanAllah, you're talking about, you know, as a young Muslim, as a young guy who embraced Islam, and then, you know, you're already accustomed to the how should I say? Yeah, the company of females, innit? Yeah, I'm trying to say, but obviously, when you become a Muslim, you know, like you can't really indulge in certain things unless, you know, you do the commitment, you get married and stuff like that. So, do you want to talk us through your journey of marriage in Islam and finding a spouse and everything like that? How was
Yeah,
that
you
for
know
you?
what, bro? First of all, yeah, you see, even before I was Muslim,
Yeah.
I wasn't on this boyfriend girlfriend thing.
Swear.
It seemed pubescent to me even then. Like boyfriend girlfriend, like that's not serious. Like that's, do you know what I'm
I
saying?
feel
Like,
you, yeah, I
that's
feel
boyfriend and girlfriend to me is like, eventually we're not going to be together.
Yeah.
Marriage was
For real.
for real for me from early. So so when I accepted Islam, there were two people in my life, her mum
Okay.
and another one who was like used to be together like time ago, was like one of my close friends.
Okay.
So it was a girl, yeah.
Yeah.
So we was like together, but we was not together. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I told her mum that I was Muslim,
Yeah.
and so we couldn't see each other anymore, type of thing like that. But I give her a dowry and things of that nature.
Yeah.
She ended up taking her shahada about a little, maybe don't touch that, yeah. About just a few months after I'd become Muslim. Yeah, she ended up taking her shahada. The imam of the masjid who gave her shahada, I said to him, I was just in passing, I just said it, like, this is the sister I want to marry. He was like, does she want to marry you? I was like, I think so. And so I asked her, and I said, do you want to marry me? Because he said I should ask. Because I think he anticipated that I'm a Muslim, I've got this girl with me.
Yeah.
She just took her shahada. He's probably thinking, if they're together like that, then to protect her from sins and to protect me from sins, it's better to get married ASAP.
Of course. So this is the same day she took shahada.
Same day she took shahada, bro, and I'm still a new Muslim as well.
Yeah.
So I asked her, do you want to marry me? She said yes.
Yeah.
We got and the imam married us there and then. I was like, Imam, wait, what about mahar? What about these things I've heard of dowry? He said, don't worry about that. You can deal with that later.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So I had my mum there.
Yeah.
Because my mum actually took shahada as well. We're at the same time.
Oh,
yeah, but she has it. But I don't want people to get too excited for me because I don't know what my mum's state is really at the moment in terms of Islam. She kind of struggled to get going. She's an older woman, innit?
Yeah, of course.
So some people get going. Yeah, alhamdulillah, she took shahada. So I had my brother there, my twin brother was already there. Ilyas, my boy Alex was there.
Yeah.
So we got married.
Yeah.
And we cracked on with married life straight away. Just got on with it. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much lived together straight away. And that was a 6.5 year marriage. But and like all marriages, like, cause it was a time where I was still establishing myself. So there was moving around, there were different jobs, there was, like, I don't know. You said it was a young marriage. Feel what I'm saying? It was a good
6
marriage.
years, my bro.
6
I'm
years,
about it,
yeah.
man, like,
And so the reason why I'm mentioning all this moving around and stuff is that just like anything, there were some issues in the marriage as well, some arguments and things of that nature. But what happened is that someone ended up there was some sihr of separation. So like the magic, like Allah mentions in the Quran that they learn that by which, in terms of magic, they separate husband and wife.
Yeah.
So it's one of like the main reasons, one of the main causes of sihr is to cause separation between husband and wife. So there was that.
Yeah.
I prayed that there was something wrong. Like she was like, what, she wants a divorce, and she was so like adamant and like that she was so like thing about it.
Well, this came out of nowhere.
No,
that's
the thing. That's the reason why I wanted to mention about arguments before, because you can't put it all down to that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't like it was like everything was blessed, but divorce didn't make sense to me. Do you feel what I'm saying?
Okay.
And also how much she seemed that she wanted it as well. Like, do you know what I'm saying? It's like, well, what's up? It is weird. Like, so we went to see someone. We did the reciting, and he said that there's hasad. That she has hasad, not that she is an individual has hasad on others, rather she's been afflicted with hasad at an extreme level. And then he gave us some advice as to what to do. I kid you not, 2 days later, I called the sheikh. I said, I'm telling you, there's something more. I can feel it. I can tell. I can just tell there's something more. So he said, okay, cool, come back and we'll do a longer reciting. Bro, first hour, of reciting, nothing. But when we kick into gear 2 now for second hour of reciting, this one's mum's like, I can see a woman in a cloak hissing, retreating into a corner. Do you understand what I'm saying? And the imam is telling us like, keep going, keep reciting, keep blowing, because the form of ruqya that we was doing was you're closing your eyes, you're reciting and you're blowing.
Okay.
With the intention of the blowing being Allah's nur.
Yeah.
Or fire to destroy any sihr or anything like that.
Yeah.
So we're going, I'm like reciting, huffing, then my body starts going like I feel like I've got, like them fun fair things that like you try and hold these metal rods and they got an electric current going through them and your whole body's like got an electric current. That's what my body started to become like. So I was struggling to recite. My speech was getting slurred. I was so fatigued. I was like, hey, man, I can't carry on. It's like, keep going. Like, and because obviously that's when you're working. You know, where if you're doing a workout, you just start to get tired and then you stop. Yeah. This is the point that we've reached now through all of that reciting is coming out. So he's trying to get us to really go hard. So we knew for sure that there was sihr in it. Then we knew for sure there was sihr. But the thing is that whenever we would try to do it, an argument would spark. Shaitan was trying to stop us from doing the work, the reciting. Yeah. And as Sheikh Abu Ubaid told us as well, which is an individual we went to see, who's certified, he said, usually there's always one person that doesn't want to do the ruqyah. And that was the case in their instance, that she didn't want to do it so much. Things got messy, you know what I'm saying? Like, long story short of it, because I don't think I should go into too many details, especially with Aya with me as well. I've probably said too much even with Aya here. But long story short of it, I really tried my best, really tried my best to keep the family together, because it's the strangest thing. Like, when there's love and there's kids and there's, you know what I'm saying, like this is your home that you've built, like you could have nothing and you feel like rich. Of course. Do you understand? And I used to, it's funny because when I reflect upon how long have I been afflicted for, how long has this sihr been here, I remember where I used to literally run home from Isha at the masjid, not walk, run home after, not running to the masjid, but after the salah, running home in eagerness to be with my family. Do you know what I'm saying? I would literally run because I want to be with them. But as soon as I walked in the door, that feeling would go away. And this is something that people have mentioned as well as symptoms of sihr, is that when you get in the home, you kind of change, or your feelings, they're not the same. So how do you go from running home in eagerness to be with them, and the moment you walk through the door, that energy's gone? Feel what I'm saying? Yeah. So I remember I did find something once, but I discarded of it, and I probably didn't discard of it in the best way. I found a hand of Fatima thing in the bathroom, and we wouldn't have something like that in our house because I knew enough about the Deen that this is like a shirky pagan type thing. So, but I didn't dispose of it probably in the best way. I just broke it up and threw it out of the house. Where did it come from? I don't know, but you know, when sihr is done, it's usually from people close to you. It's not really from people distant. You know, and obviously the clients that I help with my counselling, which I would like to talk to, but the podcast will go on for way too long. I think I'll start talking about everything that I'm doing.
Maybe on a separate thing.
Inshallah ta'ala. But even with my counselling and I'm helping clients who have got afflictions, bro, it's the people close to them. You know, uncles, best friend's mum. Like when I say best friend, like sister's mum, and weird people with ex-husbands or this, that and the other doing things, or even husbands. So anyway, long story short, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests individuals with things like this to see how sincere they are. You know, like it's like, do you think because you say that you believe that you will not be tested? So she wasn't able to handle that situation, ended up taking a completely different path in life. I ended up separating from the mum, and that was such a great trial for me. It was the only real trial that I've ever experienced in my life, because I lost the home that I had. I lost my kids, who I'm like the closest to and still close to, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. Divorce was never going to stop that. But like it was a really, really difficult situation. Well, it was a very difficult situation. Like I remember little weird details, like the feeling of it being a weekday and being on the street at like 9:30, 10 o'clock, but it's a weekday. Everyone's with their families indoors. I know where I'm going. I'm walking to where I'm staying. you know what I'm saying, like my stepmom's house or whatever. But just being out on the street at that time, on the road, walking, you could just feel the loneliness. You could feel like these trials, you felt them. But Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawzi, rahimahullah, he said that it's from Allah's perfection that he doesn't, that he makes his slave taste the bitterness of the break before the sweetness of the mend. So he doesn't break his believing slave except to fix him.
Yeah.
He doesn't withhold from him except to give him.
Yeah.
And he doesn't test him with hardship except to cure him.
Yeah.
I lived that statement. Like, so I haven't just read it and believe it.
Yeah.
I've lived it.
Been
I've
through
experienced it. Allah broke me to cure me. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I needed to be cured from deficiencies and characteristics that I had. And so I drew very near to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala during this trial.
Alhamdulillah, it's amazing that you say that, my bro, man. You know, may Allah keep you firm, may Allah bless you, because a lot of brothers or a lot of people that go through certain trials, like you're saying, it's either make or break, to be honest. Do you know what I'm saying? Some people come out of it worse, but like you're saying, subhanAllah, you looking back now, you like, it made you better. Do you know what I'm saying? You came out of it, do you know what I'm trying to say? More blessed and stuff, man.
Yeah,
So,
bro, because the thing is, is that, like, you know, when I said about that statement of be clear on who you are, what you are, pray on that, live and die. Like I said, like I knew in my heart, like I was gonna live and die by this. So if you say you're real, and we all take pride in being real, I consider myself a real person. So if you say you're real, then how are you when in times of hardship? How are you when you lose a loved one? How are you in times of wealth? How are you in times of poverty? How are you in times of divorce? Bro, you have to be who you are at all times. You have to be who you are at all times.
For real.
So alhamdulillah, for me, Allah blessed me to have understanding of what I was going through, and the only way I can turn this situation into a W was to stay as near to Allah as possible. I knew if I drew as near to him as possible, Allah would turn this situation into a W for me. Otherwise, if I go the other way, I'm going to take an L. So, and that's what ended up happening. And I drew near to Allah. I wasn't perfect along the road.
Yeah, of course.
But if I fell short, I made tawbah. If I fell short, I tried to pray Qiyamul Layl. Because you have to have this understanding that you're never going to be perfect. Part of your imperfection and your sins is part of your perfect creation. Because Allah, it's been mentioned in an authentic narration that Allah created us to sin. If we didn't sin, Allah would destroy us and replace us for people who would sin. They would seek the forgiveness of Allah and Allah would forgive them. So you are supposed to sin. But what do you do after you sin? Do you despair of Allah's mercy? Do you not pray tawbah? That's the question. So if I fell short, I pray tawbah and keep it moving. Got to keep pushing. And eventually, akhi, alhamdulillah, that trial was it shaped me. Like I became in every way better. In every way better. My understanding, my sabr, my money-wise, in every way became better through that trial. But it was difficult, as I said, really difficult, bro. Picking up, like, having jobs and then all of a sudden you're with a shovel and broom on a construction site because, you know, I told you I'm driving the cranes. What happened was ended up getting a criminal record just from a small incident that happened. So it's it's nothing crazy. Okay. It's an assault charge in it, but you can slap someone and get charged for assault. You know what I'm saying? So and then I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna take my boy's advice and I'm gonna start getting into construction. So I did the labouring for a little while. So I'm on the site with shovel and broom. Like you're
from the beginning,
from the bottom. Like, do you understand? So you're really like Allah's really testing you throughout this time. I'm getting worse constantly.
And how old are you these times now? So this is after the trial.
Yeah, I'm like 27 or something.
Okay.
And at 27, you feel like you should be established.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then all of this stuff's happened that you was building, because I was studying my degree in psychology at this time as well.
Okay.
So all of this is kicking off at this time. And so, you know, I was really going through it, moving from place to place. But I had these guys with me and they were like my comfort. Do you understand? Like, we had the best times during that period. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. And then, as I said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed me, rectified my affairs. I ended up going from the lowest job in construction to the highest job in construction, figuratively and literally. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, all praise is due to Allah, man. Alhamdulillah.
That's it. So, subhanAllah, man. It's been a journey, man, and it's not over. Do you get me? This is this life, man. Like, it's never over until we stop breathing. So we've
That's
always got to
it.
keep
We
striving.
keep pushing, man. We keep pushing.
Pushing, man. Take every day as it comes. Where would you say you're at now, man, with like your Deen, with your, you know what I'm saying, with your affairs and stuff like that?
Where would I say I am now? I mean, look, the life of a believer is constant ups and downs, blessings, trials, but it makes no difference. Blessings, trials, wherever you hold it down and you stay true to what you believe in. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it makes no difference here or there. The blessings, if you take the advantage of blessings, you have gratitude, will be good for you. In times of hardship, you have sabr, be good for you. Yeah. So that's what we try and move with. But my affairs, alhamdulillah, they're good. I got my place. Yeah. I got my kids. Yeah. You know, I'm married. Marriage is a difficult thing. Marriage is a child. Marriage isn't all a bed of roses. Do you understand? But bro, all I can say is that alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, my affairs are a lot better than they were before, and everything it's been an upgrade. It's been a matter of upgrading as opposed to downgrading. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like that, and you know, alhamdulillah, I've been blessed to go to Umrah. Yeah. I've been blessed to go to Palestine, so I've seen all of the three holy sites. You know, I've lived a you know, a good life so far. Yeah. And we keep moving and see what's next.
Keep moving, man. Yeah. That's what we like to hear, man. So we're coming towards the end of the podcast, my bro, yeah? But there's normally 2 questions I like to ask before we wrap it up. The first one is, what advice would you give to any non-Muslims who don't know about Islam or might be thinking to come into Islam? Like, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I'm going to keep it short and sweet, yeah? Yeah. This is key advice. If you are sincerely seeking the truth, sincerely, like you want the truth, even if you have your doubts, yeah, get a Quran, and before reading it, make your intention in your heart and mind for God, the one that you do believe in, because people do believe in God, but don't perhaps have a religion or believe in religion. Yeah. Make the intention for God to guide you to the truth and read the Quran. So before reading, make the intention for God to guide you to the truth. Don't say guide you to Islam or to anything, just to the truth and read. That's my advice.
Okay, cool. And lastly, what advice would you have to any Muslims, whether born Muslims or revert Muslims, that might be struggling to uphold Islam, or again, like a case in your example, might have been going through some trials and they feel further away from Allah?
We're going to eat some nice Palestinian food. I'm looking forward to this. We're going to be eating from, what's it called?
Al-Quds.
Al-Quds. Come on,
eating Al-Quds.
Oh, we are. So my advice is that principle that Nip spoke about. Be clear on who you are, what you are. Pray on that. Be grateful for that. Make dua for that. Yeah, muqallib al-qulubi thabit qalbi ala dinik. Oh Allah, turner of hearts, keep my heart firm upon your religion. Like this is making dua for Allah to preserve you and live and die by it. Like embrace Islam at the level that it deserves to be embraced at. This is the truth. Like when you find the truth, and it's a beautiful truth as well, you should be happily ready to live and die by this. You don't want or need anything else. So all of this identity crisis thing, or not knowing who you are, or not knowing how you fit in this country, forget that. This country doesn't love you. They'll never love you until you revert back to their way. And even then they might find another reason not to like you because of your ethnicity or whatever the case may be. Keep your loyalty to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You put Allah first, you'll never be lost. So my advice to the Muslims, revert or born Muslim, is to live and die by this religion. Embrace it wholeheartedly, embrace it fully, and be willing to live and die by it, because it is worthy of that status that you can live and die by this. Because of what it is. I'm not telling you live and die by something else that's flaky or weak or got doubts about it. This is Islam. So yeah, that's my advice to them, man. Just that's
deep, man. And like going back to what you're saying, identity crisis. Even in the Quran it says, never will the disbelievers be pleased with you until you give up your religion. You know what I'm trying to say? So you should always hold firm. You should always be trying to please the creator, not the creation. You know what I'm trying to say?
That's it. 100%. And we need them. I want them to know, you know. I want the young Muslims, and I want the Muslims to know, every Muslim to know how important they are. Like we need them. Like the ummah needs you. Like we need each other. Do you understand? Like when we sin, we're unknowingly aiding our enemies against us, and our good deeds are benefiting, are helping us. Sometimes people have this attitude, this mindset that my sins are just on me. Yeah. Do you understand? Like they just impact me. No, they don't. They impact the ummah. You know, so you'll be held accountable for it separately. Don't get me wrong, but we're one body. So if we're all sinning, how do you think Palestine is where it is? How do you think Syria is where it is? How do you think India is where it is? How do you think all of these places are how they are? How can we be put in concentration camps in? How can the Uyghur Muslims be in concentration camps? How can Palestinians' land be stolen from them, their homes be stolen from them, their lives be taken from them? How can people go out openly and talk about raping Muslim women in India and go out and beat and kill? And it's just free game. Because the Prophet ﷺ said that there will come a time when your enemies will gather around you like people gather for a feast. And I'll take from you. And the Sahaba said, Ya Rasulullah, O Messenger of Allah, will we be small in number in that time? Like, because everyone's just able to just take from us. And he said, no, rather you'll be many. You'll be in your multitudes. But you'll be like the scum from the top of the ocean, like the sea. Like for scum from like a flowing torrent. And Allah will cast al-wahan into your hearts. And he says, Ya Rasulullah, what's wahan? And he said, it's love of this life and hatred for death. You know, like we need to raise our children to with the mindset and the understanding that they belong to the ummah, not to have this nafsi mentality. And so when we do good, it's for the benefit of the ummah. When we do bad, it harms the ummah. That's why I had that slogan, that statement, leave off sins to free Palestine. We can go to all the protests, we can do all of the stuff, but leave off sins to free Palestine. That is the greatest way to free Palestine. Yeah.
That's deep, man. Definitely some food for thought there, my bro, man. Definitely some food for thought, subhanAllah. But Jazakallah for coming on, my bro.
Sorry, I've been grabbing her feet.
Nah, it's all good, yeah. Yeah. Assalamu alaikum.
What do you say when you say assalamu alaikum?
I've got there, innit? That's